Hello Transformers fans, and welcome back to Nerd Doc. Transformers Rise of the Beast is out in theaters, which means it's time to take a look at the ending and main plot details. There will be spoilers for Rise of the Beast in this video. This is your spoiler warning. We'll only be discussing the plot and ending of the movie, but if you're looking for details on the mid-credit scene or the various Easter eggs in the film, you can find that video linked in the description below. If you have any questions about the plot or ending, or you just want to let us know what you thought of the film, leave a comment below. There are chapter timestamps, so you can jump around the video as you wish, and as a reminder, the film is still in theaters, so we can only use footage from the trailers. Please bear with us there. Rise of the Beast is a mixture of the 1986 animated movie and the Beast Wars animated series. From a Transformers lore standpoint, it's more than a little bit messy, but we'll try to explain how this all works together in the new movie. While Bumblebee was originally perceived as a prequel to the Michael Bay-directed Transformers films, it's actually a reboot of those movies, and that reboot continues with Rise of the Beast. The Maximals are from the distant future, which is the opening scene of the movie. This shows Unicron approaching the Maximals planet, which is actually very likely the Earth. While the planet doesn't look like Earth, in the distant future, Earth would look different than it does today. To be clear, there's no direct confirmation this is Earth in the movie, but it makes the most sense within the context of the film. Unicron sends his cronies down to the planet to acquire the Trans-Warp Key. This device would allow Unicron to travel across both time and space, devouring any and all energon-rich planets. Unicron's minions consist of Scourge, Nightbird, and Battletrap. In the animated 1986 film, Unicron used Megatron and a few other Decepticons to create Galvatron, Cyclonus, Scourge, and the Sweeps. While Scourge was essentially second in command behind Galvatron, he commanded his own group, which were the Sweeps. None of that happens in Rise of the Beast. There's no Megatron or Galvatron or any kind of connection between Unicron and the Decepticons. Scourge also looks very different and feels more like a cheap Megatron knockoff in the movie. Scourge does use small minions in the film that somewhat resemble the Blintron that served Unicron in the Transformers lore. They're far smaller and weaker in Rise of the Beast, but the designs are similar. Scourge and his team go down to the planet to find the Trans-Warp Key. The Maximals leader, Ape Link, passes leadership on to Optimus Primal and fights against Scourge to give the rest of the Maximals time to escape with the Trans-Warp Key. Ape Link dies, but the other Maximals use the key to travel back in time. They end up on Earth, but 5,000 years in the past, so Unicron sends Scourge and his team to the past to seek out the key and open a gateway to bring Unicron there as well, because in the future there aren't many planets left for Unicron to consume. The rest of the movie takes place in 1994, starting in New York. It's here that we're introduced to the main human characters, Elena Wallace, a super knowledgeable intern at a local museum, and Noah Diaz, an ex-military tech expert. A new rare artifact comes into the museum, which Elena can't seem to identify. This is an ancient statue of Airazor, one of the Maximals, that holds one half of the Trans-Warp Key. Elena stumbles upon this when she's examining the artifact, which causes a beacon of light to shoot into the sky that only Transformers can see. This means the light was likely either infrared or X-ray. We have telescopes that can see light in both spectrums, but humans cannot see these well with the naked eye. Of course, the beacon gets the attention of Optimus Prime, who calls in other nearby Autobots, Bumblebee, RC, and Mirage. Shifting gears, Noah's little brother has sickle cell disease, and their family is struggling. Noah can't find a job, so he turns to his friend Reek and a potential life of crime. His first gig is to carjack a high-end Porsche from a nearby gala. The Porsche in question is actually Mirage, who takes a liking to Noah, and they go to the Autobot meetup together. Optimus Prime is not yet trusting of the humans, and that includes Noah, but he reluctantly agrees to have Noah break into the museum to get the Trans-Warp Key, since it's a way home to Cybertron for the Autobots. Unfortunately, as this happens, Scourge and his crew arrive at the museum and end up with the Trans-Warp Key, with Optimus losing a fight with Scourge, who kills Bumblebee while he was attempting to save Optimus. Airazor shows up just in time to actually save Optimus, and informs the Autobots about the Maximals and Scourge. There's a scene taken almost directly from the animated movie in which Unicron scolds Scourge for thinking he had finished the job when he actually only had half of the Trans-Warp Key. Elena uses her knowledge of the Airazor artifact statue to determine the second half of the key is located in Peru, so the Autobots and Airazor use Stratosphere, a cargo plane Autobot so large it can easily carry the entire Autobots team, which includes Bumblebee's body. But like Jetfire from the previous movies, for whatever reason, all the flying Autobots seem to be old and falling apart. Once they're in Peru, they meet up with Wheeljack, who has a Peruvian accent for some reason, and is a VW bus, which is a huge change from his cartoon design. Elena and Noah discover a hidden underground temple where the second half of the key was originally located. However, it has since been moved. They end up running into the rest of the Maximals just as Scourge and his team attack. They all get away, but Airazor is infected by Scourge, eventually causing her to be completely corrupted by him, giving away their position and turning on the Autobots and humans. Optimus Primal has to kill her in order to protect Elena, but not before Scourge gets the second half of the key, and then creates a skybridge-like tower that begins to open the portal to bring in Unicron. This is where the Avengers Endgame-like battle takes place, with all the Maximals and Autobots fighting against Scourge and his team, along with a bunch of nameless minions Unicron sends through the portal as it begins to open. These are all the Scorpion Transformers from the trailer, as well as smaller minions that resemble the Blintron. When the transwarp key was used, it created a structure for the skybridge, which just so happens to have human-sized tunnels that lead to a human-sized control panel that can shut down the portal. Very convenient. And of course, Elena has the necessary knowledge to shut everything down due to the fact that she examined the Airazor artifact at the beginning of the movie and knows the specific symbol she needs to input into the control panel to turn everything off. The area they're fighting in is also rich in inert energon, but to make it usable energon would require a massive amount of power. Luckily, when the portal activates, it just so happens to send a surge of energy through the valley, essentially resurrecting Bumblebee. Just when it seems as though the Autobots and Maximals are about to lose, Bumblebee drops down from stratosphere and turns the tide of battle. Meanwhile, Mirage is fighting Scourge near the control panel in an attempt to keep Scourge occupied while Lena does her thing. Mirage seemingly dies protecting Noah, who was nearby, but shortly after it's revealed that Mirage is still alive, just heavily damaged, and so he transforms his remaining working parts into an exosuit for Noah. Optimus Prime finally shows up to fight Scourge, with Noah helping in the exosuit while Lena tries to close the portal, but the control panel ends up destroyed. Optimus tells everyone to evacuate as he plans to destroy the space bridge, effectively closing the portal, but with a massive explosion that will suck up everything nearby. Everyone acts like they're leaving, but just as Optimus destroys the space bridge and is about to get sucked in, Noah in his exosuit grabs him, then Optimus Primal shows up to save them both as Unicron and his minions lose the battle. Although it's made very clear that Unicron is still alive. The end of the movie sees Noah back at home and going in for an interview at an undisclosed location. The interview is with an unknown person played by Michael Kelly, who already knows about Noah's recent involvement with the Transformers. The unknown interviewer confirms that due to Noah's help in saving the world, his little brother's medical bills will be taken care of, and he'll have the best treatments moving forward. He also gives Noah a business card, then shifts a Real Hero Award plaque mounted on the wall, which reveals a hidden warehouse where an experimental plane is being built. The mysterious man would like Noah and his Transformer friends to join the team as they're in the middle of a war. Noah looks on the backside of the card to find a G.I. Joe logo as the credits begin to roll. What this means is that Paramount and Hasbro have partnered to work on a Transformers G.I. Joe crossover movie. It's currently unknown if this will tie into the previous live-action G.I. Joe films, but keep in mind, most of Rise of the Beast takes place in 1994, long before any of the other G.I. Joe movies occurred. So while those movies will likely not be connected and will get a reboot of the G.I. Joe franchise, even if they were connected, it would be a very different team in place. That means The Rock and Channing Tatum probably aren't going to return for this new crossover movie. There have already been a number of G.I. Joe and Transformers crossovers in the comics. While Paramount has a bad reputation for completely ignoring source material on these kinds of projects, the Black Horizon comic run from 2007 would be somewhat fitting for a G.I. Joe Transformers crossover movie. In that run, the Joes form an alliance with the Autobots to stop the spread of Cybertronian technology. The story involves plenty of Cobra action, the original G.I. Joe, Joe Colton, as well as bits of Unicron. So it would be a fitting continuation of the story from Rise of the Beast, as well as an opportunity to reboot the G.I. Joe franchise with the original G.I. Joe. But since this is Paramount we're talking about, another scenario is that the Joes and Autobots team up, along with a couple of Maximals. They'll introduce a new Megatron as the main bad guy, who is working with Cobra and traces of Unicron. This could then lead into a third film where we see Megatron interact with Unicron to become Galvatron, and then just go from there. So what did you think of Transformers Rise of the Beast? Was Scourge a strong enough bad guy? Did Unicron do enough? And what about the upcoming crossover film with G.I. Joe and the Transformers? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. For now, that wraps up this video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with someone who loves the Transformers and G.I. Joe.